Hey guys, it's Realtor Adele, your favorite realtor and investment property strategist. In this third quarter housing market report, it's all about mortgage rates, inventory, home prices, and affordability in that order. Now, it seems as though we've been following the same theme since January of this year, and rightly so. Mortgage rates have more than doubled. Home prices have climbed to the highest they've ever been. And when combined, we're left to wonder if buying a home is even affordable anymore. As we close out the third quarter of 2022 in housing, we're going to take a peek of what's going on, where we've been, and of course, where we're trending to go. Let's start with mortgage rates. After all, securing financing is the first step in the home buying process. So I wanted to share this chart with you that shows mortgage rates from January of this year and up to September 1st was the time when this chart was generated. So as you can see that rates have steadily climbed, and also there's a bit of volatility, right, if you will. But as mentioned, this chart was generated on September 1st. We know that rates have increased to over 6% and almost 7 since that time. And you may be wondering, why did rates increase so high in the first place? As you are aware, we are in an inflationary period, and with rising interest rates, rising home prices, that's not sustainable. So as a result, the Fed's goal was to tame inflation, or their goal is to prevent a housing crash. As a result, they have to raise mortgage rates, slow down the economy a bit. So hopefully that works. But that was the reason for the spike in mortgage rates. So kind of a necessary evil, unfortunately. Now, where are mortgage rates expected to go as we close out 2022 and even into 2023? The following slide will give you a glimpse on where those numbers are trending. So this is great news for both buyers and sellers, because as you will see, we're going to start to head in the opposite direction. So interest rates will start to come down, which means that that's a bit of relief for those wanting to purchase a home, and also for property sellers as well, because of course we've seen a stall in closings, kind of a slowdown in the market, and that's expected, because if home prices are elevated and mortgage rates are elevated, then naturally it's going to price some people out of the market. They're going to wait. And so this is great news for both buyers and sellers, because buyers now have a bit more flexibility. Sellers will see less days on market, of course. And I just think that, well, it's kind of the natural process of everything. We can only sustain so much, and then we have to head in the opposite direction. Now, the following slides, as I mentioned, will show you where mortgage rates are expected to land as we close out 2022, and where they're expected to project as we go into 2023. I've also included a website where you can check what the current mortgage rate is at any time. And beyond those slides, we will get into home prices. So if mortgage rates are going to head in the opposite direction, does that mean the same for home prices? And how does affordability play into all of this? So in a few slides down, we're going to take a look at both of those factors. If interest rates are expected to head in the opposite direction, mean get lower, what does this mean for home prices? Now, of course, as mentioned, we are seeing price reductions. However, in my opinion, that's more of a price correction just due to the fact that home prices have been steadily climbing for a number of years and even more so within the last 2 years. Now, what drives home prices or what dictates home prices? Supply and demand. We still have historically low inventory in most markets. Of course, each market is different, but generally there we are still experiencing low inventory, and then with a healthy demand of buyers in the market, that is what drives home prices. So, yes, we will see more of a price correction. So, we will see home prices taper off because, after all, just steadily increasing home prices, that is not sustainable. So, it's only natural for those numbers to balance out. And that is what we are experiencing right now. So, this does not mean that, oh, yeah, there's going to be a big dip in home prices, because there's not. There just will not be. This is a price correction. And also, with that said, of course, we're seeing home prices decelerate, which means that prices are coming down. So it's a deceleration, not to be confused with depreciation. Deceleration just means a lower, more balanced price, whereas depreciation means a loss in value. And actually, on the following slide, I am going to get into those numbers. So, the housing inventory for the metro Atlanta area, we're going to take a look at those numbers. Before we do that, what you're looking at is home price prediction for the remaining of 2022. So this is what the experts are predicting in terms of where home price appreciation will land. And also on the chart to your right, there's also mention of home prices decelerating. So just a slowdown in how fast or how high home prices are going for or being listed at. See you on the next slide. Okay, guys, let's talk data, which is always my favorite part of the housing market report because it's data. In any event, the chart on your screen shows the average sales price for the month of August, which is our most recent data. If you've been watching my housing market reports, then you know that there's usually about a 30-day lag time because we collect information from various sources, and we usually want to allow for sufficient time for all of the information to be documented so that we're getting a full picture of what the numbers are for a given month. So, with what we're looking at right now is the average sales price in the metro Atlanta area. If you start from the left of your screen, those bars represent, the dark green bars represent the numbers for single family detached homes. And then to the right of that, the lighter green bars or Kelly green represents the average sales price of attached homes, which includes condos and townhomes. So, starting from the left of your screen, you will notice that we start with the year 2020. So, we are looking at 2020, 2021, and then, of course, the current year, 2022, up to August. So, you will notice that the average sales price was just around 360 for single family detached homes. That was in 2020. And then it climbed to just over $410,000 in 2021. And then, of course, for our most recent month, August, the average sales price for single family detached homes in Metro Atlanta area was just about $465,000. Now, if you look below those green bars, you will see the percentage of how much the increase was. So you can go ahead and read those numbers. Just to the right of that, as mentioned, are numbers for attached homes. And you can note those for yourselves as well. But as you can see, the numbers or the average sales price in the Metro Atlanta area is pretty good and have been increasing. On the following slide, I think the next slide is going to show us the average days on market, which is important because we can have an average sales price, but then how long does it take before that home goes under contract? And we will look at those numbers on the following slide. So now the moment of truth, days on market until sale. And this is usually from the time a property is listed until the time the seller accepts an offer on the property. So starting from the left of the chart, again, that represents single family detached homes. And then right of that, the lighter green represents attached. And then to the right of August bars or chart, you will notice the year-to-date numbers. So starting from the left of your screen, that first bar, that is for the year 2020. And you will notice that the days on market until sale was 40 days. And of course, that's not unusual given the fact that we were in it, right? We were deep or in the midst of the pandemic of COVID-19. So the increased days on market is not unusual looking back, given all that was going on at the time. We were pretty much all bound to our homes, and many people decided to stay put and didn't think they should move. But then on the flip side, in the midst of the pandemic, people realized that, hey, I need a better space or I want to improve my living space because I'm using my home differently. And hence began the mass migration as a result of COVID-19. Okay, so back to the days on market for 2020. The average days on market was 40. To the right of that, 2021 numbers, the average days on market really decreased to 16. Like people weren't playing around, they weren't messing around. In fact, this was during the height of multiple offers situation and just really a lot of competition in the market. Then to the right of that one is the numbers for 2022. So as of the end of August, the average days on market is 21 days for single family detached homes. It'll be interesting to see what September numbers are because personally I've realized that the market has stalled, slowed, and this is no surprise because interest rates have just been out of the roof. And then, of course, with elevated home prices, that taps into affordability or lack thereof, and many buyers being priced out of the market. So I'm very anxious to see what September numbers are going to bring. But moving right along as we are continuing to move to the right of the screen, to the lighter green bars, these are numbers for attached homes, so condos and townhomes 44 for 2020 was the average days on market. Again, we were in the midst of COVID and the pandemic, so that's not unusual there. 2021, we were in the middle of the mass migration, and the average days on market for attached homes was 3 weeks. So many people were single family homes was the preferred housing and choice, of course, because it's a standalone home versus something attached, and many people being freaked out about the pandemic and the ease of which it was spreading. Of course, those concerns have kind of tapered. So the 19 you see, that is for 2022. That is the average days on market for attached homes in the metro Atlanta area, which is 19 days. And then these bars to the right, this just gives you the year to date, kind of comparing, hey, a year ago or a year from August of the end of August 2020. And then, so it just compares the year to date for the attached and detached homes. And of course, you can see those numbers are represented here. On the following slide, you're going to notice the percentage of list price that was received by the seller. So even though the days on market or the time from the home or property was listed to the time that the seller accepted an offer, this is what these numbers represent. But the truth of the matter is how many of those made it to the closing table, and of the ones that did, what percentage of the list price did the seller receive? Meaning, did the seller get their list price, the amount that the home was listed for? Did they get more or did they get less? You will see those numbers or the breakdown of that data on the following slide. Okay, guys, so my absolute favorite of all of the data to look at is month supply of inventory. Why? Because it paints a true picture of where we stand in terms of the type of market we're in. Are we in a buyer's market, a seller's market, or balance? And whenever there's so much noise in the market that I always encourage people to look at the month supply of inventory in any given neighborhood that you're interested in buying or selling or even investing, especially a home property. Look at the month supply of inventory. This tells you the truth of what's going on in a given area. The news is always very generalized, and the headlines rarely tell you the truth of what it is. That's why it's very important to read beyond the headlines. But I digress. Let's look at the month supply of inventory, and that will let us know or paint us a picture of the type of market we're in. Once we know that, we will know, is now the best time to sell a home, buy a home, or invest in real property. As you look at the screen from the left again, from the left of the screen is represented detached single family homes. These are the dark green or hunter green bars. To the right of that, the Kelly green bars represent condos and townhomes, attached homes. Now you will note that 2020, you'll see numbers for 2020, 2021, and of course, up to August of 2022. So from the left, 2020, we had 1.8 month supply of inventory in the metro Atlanta area. To the right of that shows you that number dipped to 1.5 or 1.5 months of inventory. And this is why there was so much competition in the market, especially last year. There was so much competition, multiple offers, home selling for way above list price, because what depicts a sales price? Supply, demand. So with low inventory or low supply and high demand, the results will usually be a higher sales price. So we can see for 2022, as August, as of the end of August, there was just over 2 months of inventory, which is still pretty low. So this means that we are still in a seller's market. Now, I know I had checked, as mentioned, this data is for as of August of 2022. I have checked September's numbers, and we are at 3 months. We are at 3 months in the Metro Atlanta area for 3 months of inventory. Now, a balanced market where it's equally balanced for both buyer and seller, of course, would be 6 months, or 6 months, 7 months, anywhere around there. Anytime you get over 4 months of inventory, that leans more in favor of the buyer. So, as mentioned, I checked, let me say this, I will clarify. I did not check, this wasn't for Metro Atlanta area. I checked the city of Atlanta proper, and that amount, the amount of inventory was around 3 months. So just let me clarify that this data is for the 7 most populated counties in the Atlanta area. These are the numbers for all of those counties combined, and I will list them actually, so they will be listed just to give you clarity on which counties are included when I do my Metro Atlanta housing market report. But I will say this, I checked the city of Atlanta, I want to say a few days ago, and the month supply of inventory was at 3 months, which I'm not surprised, because we all know that interest rates are through the roof. Yes. So I know I'm sounding like a broken record, but yes, there has been a stall in terms of the amount of homes or units closed or sold. And that's not surprising, because inventory, not inventory, because mortgage rates are still very high. So that leans on affordability. If mortgage rates are through the roof and home prices are elevated, yes, there's going to be like a stalemate of sort. There is going to be a slowdown, which is not unusual. And yes, there is going to be um, a reduction in home prices. So you're going to see, and we are seeing, that some sellers are reducing the sales price. This is not unusual. We are doing a price correction. That's what I call a price correction, because we all know that sellers have been over ambitious, I think, in a lot of instances, due to the fact that we were in a very strong seller's market. And elevated numbers can only be sustained for so long. So yes, we're at that point where we're gonna see a bit of price corrections and a bit of slowdown in the marketplace. So this is not unusual. This is something that's expected, right? Um, Price hikes and increased mortgage rates can only happen for so long, because it's not sustainable for the long term. But in any event, these are the numbers. This is the month supply of inventory. We still have relatively low inventory in almost every neighborhood in the Metro Atlanta area. So sellers still have The advantage, we are still in a seller's market. However, prices are softening, and that's good news for home buyers, just due to the fact that they've been taking a whipping, right, for over a year. So I think a bit of balancing is necessary and results in a win-win for all, because those who want to buy will now have more options because of less competition, and sellers can sell their homes and still have a good return on their investment because there is still equity in many homes. So that's all I'm going to say about that. And we're now going to get into housing affordability, because this is, I don't want to say this is why we're here, but this is what it's going to lead to. Um, is it even affordable now to purchase a home in the metro Atlanta area? I'm going to break down and share that data with you on the next slide. All right, guys. So what you're looking at is the Housing Affordability Index chart, courtesy of NAR, the National Association of Realtors, and it stems from 1990 all the way to 2022, right? And okay, so from the left, from the left of this chart represents 1990, and the black dotted line, and that just shows that 100, the 100 reading is the average household can afford 100% of the average mortgage rate. So the bars, the higher the numbers are on the bars, means the more affordable housing is, or the more affordable it is to buy a home. So as mentioned, we're starting at from 1990. You can see housing was fairly affordable because it's over that 100 bar line. And as you go through the years, you can see the fluctuations year over year. And the blue bars, of course, are during the last recessionary period. So the housing recession of 2008. So we can see that between 2009 through 2015 were the years when housing was most affordable as a result of that situation. Now, to your far right, the red bar represents 2022. You can see that that bar is below 100. So nationally, we're just under, or we're the lowest. This is the lowest bar. So homes, this is the lowest affordability rating that we've had since 1990. So that's food for thought. Um, the following slides will show you the housing affordability index chart for Metro Atlanta area. But this is a serious matter. So this is why home prices are being reduced, because the interest rates are spiked. Elevated home prices results in lack of affordability. So numbers, the situation is not sustainable. Therefore, it's gonna start to turn in the opposite direction. By no means does this indicate a housing crash, according to the experts, but even more so, we recently just looked at the inventory levels. Inventory levels relative to the demand for the product will depict sales price. So, by no means indicating a housing crisis. However, the reduction in sales price is necessary and was bound to happen. But the next slide is going to show us Housing Affordability Index for Metro Atlanta. Hey guys, so we've touched on a lot of things, so I'm going to wrap this up. We've talked about mortgage rates, inventory, home prices, and affordability. And with that said, with affordability being an issue for most buyers, what do we do? What is the solution? One in particular for buyers, I would say to you to consider expanding your search. So going outside of your preferred location. So instead of being tied to a particular zip code or neighborhood, what about expanding your search to surrounding neighborhoods and or zip codes? Of course, the further away you go from the city, the more affordable homes are and the more you get for your money. In terms of the financing part of it, this is a great time to consider creative financing. So maybe some sellers may consider owner financing, or if not, maybe I want to say alternative financing, which includes down payment assistance and or grants. So I think that sellers may be more open to considering an offer or offers that may have down payment assistance or grants attached to the funding. I don't see why not, because cash is cash. They're gonna get cash at closing regardless of where those funds are sourced from. So if you're a seller out there, I would say just find out more about the funding, of course, because you want to ensure that, of course, that the person will follow through and that the loan will go through. So do a bit of research, ask questions about it, but I want to say that down payment assistance is a very viable option and can be a win-win for both the buyer, because it helps them with their home purchase and it helps the seller sell and have less days on market and make it to the closing table and receive, what do I want to say? And receive the return on their investment. So alternative financing is something to consider in this rising mortgage rate environment. But I will do a separate video on funding and financing, what to look out for, pros and cons. It's mostly pros. It's just that making sure you ask the relevant questions, and that's for both buyer and seller. It's all about information. I'm going to do a separate video on that, so be on the lookout for it. And as always, it is my goal to provide you with accurate information from trusted sources so that you can make the best decisions for yourselves and your families. That's all for now. Until next time, take good care.